All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into the moment a TV debate about science went completely off the rails and what it shows us about a way bigger fight that's happening all across America. Okay, but before we get into it, you know the deal. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next breakdown. Yeah, this is the line. This is the exact moment that made a TV debate about vaccines just go completely nuclear and, of course, totally viral. But look, this wasn't just some random shouting match on cable news. This was a flashpoint in a much, much bigger battle. So let's rewind a bit, because this didn't just come out of nowhere. Okay, first up, the TV news meltdown. Let's set the scene for the CNN clash that really had everyone talking. So, in one corner of the ring, you've got Dr. Chris Purnell, a public health expert, and in the other corner, conservative podcaster Ben Ferguson. I mean, this was set up to be a classic science versus political commentary showdown right from the get-go. And Ferguson came out swinging. His whole argument was, hey, the CDC dropped the ball. Nobody trusts them, so we should just scrap all the vaccine mandates, period. But Dr. Purnell was absolutely not having it. She fired right back. Her point was, no, the real problem isn't the science itself. It's the political players who are deliberately muddying the waters with misinformation and, yeah, disinformation. And this right here, this is really the heart of it all. When Ferguson told people they should be mad at the science, Dr. Purnell just hit him with this really simple question that he just did not seem to have an answer for. Why? So what were they even fighting about? What was the specific thing that kicked off this whole firestorm in the first place? Well, here it is. The whole thing was sparked by a pretty huge decision down in Florida to end mandatory vaccinations for kids. That was the policy that got them on TV debating. And Dr. Purnell's take on this? It was crystal clear. She flat out called the move reckless. Her big concern was that this would put vulnerable kids, especially in lower-income families, directly in harm's way. Now, let's be real, a policy this big doesn't just happen in a vacuum. You gotta look at the key political players who are really pushing this thing forward. So, first on the list, you've got Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. He's really been the main political force behind this shift in policy. And right there with him is his Surgeon General, Dr. Joseph Ladapo, who, it's worth noting, has a bit of a reputation for being skeptical of a lot of established healthcare practices. And you know, this isn't just happening in Florida. This whole idea lines up perfectly with the national platform of political candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's really made vaccine skepticism a core part of his political brand. So, as you can imagine, this whole political movement got a pretty strong reaction from the scientific world, and they were definitely not staying silent about it. 9. That's how many former directors of the CDC, we're talking the top dogs who used to run the entire agency, decided they had to step up and say something publicly. And this is how they did it. All 9 of them, from both Republican and Democratic administrations, mind you, put their names on this open letter. And they didn't pull any punches, directly calling out RFK Jr. for, in their words, endangering the public's health. So what was Kennedy's response to all this? Well, his argument was that the CDC itself was the problem, that it had basically lost its way and forgotten its core mission. This was also his defense for some pretty big moves, like removing the agency's director, which apparently led to a whole bunch of people walking out. And you know, this whole fight wasn't just happening in letters to the editor. It absolutely blew up on Capitol Hill. The response from Democrats was, well, pretty immediate and pretty harsh. You had Senator Raphael Warnock from Georgia just straight up calling Kennedy's whole agenda extremist and anti-science. And right behind him was Senator Mark Warner of Virginia, who took it even a step further. He called this political push against established science stupidity on steroids. Yeah, he actually said that. So this is really the question at the heart of all of this, right? When you have this massive collision between political beliefs, scientific consensus, and just general public trust, who gets to decide? Who makes the final call? And that's the big question we're left with. So what do you think? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. And hey, if you found this breakdown useful, do us a favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more. We'll catch you on the next one.